guys, and welcome back to another episode of The Connector. I am your connector, Ariel Levitt, and I'm here to connect you to people that are doing innovative things, that want to connect with you, that want to make things happen, that I need to slow down. Okay, sorry guys. I get a little fast and I get a little forward and I'm like, let's go. Which actually brings me into my guest that's here with me today, how fast and forward he is because of because of where he's from, not because of anything he does. But he is from Jersey. And so, Jordan, hi, Jordan.
How
First off,
thanks for having me.
Let me just bring you on before you start making laughing noises and people are like, who is this person over here? But Jordan's from Jersey. In Jersey, they do things like fast paced, like ready, let's go,
Yeah, it's a totally different lifestyle. And actually, when I moved down here, you could tell, I always say the amount of time it takes to get a coffee in Florida is maybe 3 times faster than up north. Because everyone up north is on a time crunch. There's traffic everywhere. So yeah, things are a lot faster up north. And it comes at that base level of stress that you don't find down here, which is kind of nice.
We have the beach, and the beach calms everybody, chills everybody out right away.
Yeah, and the sun, all the vitamins from the sun, Florida in general is more relaxing. And I think that's why when the light turns green, no one really is in a rush to go. So definitely a lot faster up north.
Yeah, fast paced and everything. And we also I guess maybe the sunshine. Sunshine is
for sure. The weather, the beachy vibes. No one really.
I appreciate that you are from another state. I was going to say country. I'm you're not from another country.
Basically,
it feels like it. But you're from another state, and yet you really appreciate Florida. And I appreciate that you appreciate Florida.
Mm-hmm. I think that's something that us as Northerners that came down here, especially in the last couple of years, we owe that to the state of Florida because people saw it safe haven here. And if they don't appreciate the state for everything it has to offer, obviously it's not perfect, but I mean, people that flooded down here to get away from all the lockdowns up north and then continued life how they did up north, it's you have to assimilate a little bit. But no, I definitely appreciate Florida, top to bottom. That's why I stayed, honestly.
And I know you didn't come down here just for the sunshine and the calm, chill people. You came down here to start another business. Yeah.
So I started my legal practice in Philly. I was with a firm up in Philly. Then they shut the world down up there for that whole ordeal. And I was recently out of law school. I was rearing and ready to go. And then, everything closed down. My office wasn't open. They had no plans of opening back up. And I was just sitting in this apartment that I paid a lot of money for, but you couldn't do anything. So I was I'm not going to sit here in my early 20s, fresh out of law school and kind of just waste away and bill hours. I wanted to get out and develop a network. So I stuck it out for a bit and then hightailed it out of there. It was kind of a not last minute decision. It was just once I decided to go, I think I decided December of 21, I decided to move to Florida and the bar exam was that next February. So I had 6 weeks to learn Florida law. And I was moved down here, found an apartment, found a job, took the bar. I mean, I had no choice because I was all right, either I'm going to come down here and pass and it's going to be well, or I'm going to come down here and fail and I'll just go back up north. So I didn't waste any time. Everyone said I was crazy, but
you did it.
I sent it. Yeah.
And I love that you wanted to get out and network and connect with people and not just sit in an office and bill hours.
Yeah. And for me, that was always what I liked about the field of law. It was of course you learn, you bill, you work for a big firm, but I, even at as a summer associate, I brought on my first client and everyone was shocked. I'm what are you guys talking about? Isn't this my job to bring in money? But, apparently in the legal industry, especially on the defense side, they don't really expect that out of you until later in your career. Cause it is tough. I mean, you're not going to hire a civil defense attorney who's only been litigating for a year. Traditionally, you're going to get his boss who's been litigating for 20, 30 years. So I always saw the value in that. And also, that's where my personality is more gauged to. You can get the Harvard kid who had a 4.0 to sit there and bill. Amazing. I wasn't that kid. I did very well, but, my personality and just my yearn to talk to people and to figure out what they need and help them, I was always geared that way. So, the will to get out and make my own book of business. And there was probably some not selfishness, but some like personal gain I was looking for. Cause like I knew I always wanted to eventually go out on my own. And if you're on the defense side of things, civilly, especially, like you can't go out on your own if you don't have clients who come back to you again and again. So that's where my mind was. So being locked in this 1,000 square foot apartment in Philly was not doing it for me at all.
Gosh, that sounds terrible. I could never do it.
People were going out to eat. I mean, it was probably 15, 20 degrees. They were going out to eat outside in the cold on the streets. And like, I was with the girl at the time and she was like, well, we don't do any of that. I said, well, all that is insane. I said, I'm not doing that. It's not enjoyable. I was like, no way.
No. I personally don't like the cold that much. Like, I like to visit it. I enjoy watching it on TV, but I just don't love the cold. Like,
and you're born and raised
in Florida.
Yeah, you wouldn't like it up there during the winter time. Days are short. There's no sunshine. It's cold. It's windy.
It's fun to visit.
Yeah, I love it still. I miss it, but you know, I understand. Especially people are like, oh, like the driving. I get it, but I still miss it sometimes.
Yeah. So when you were saying networking is a whole different thing. It's a whole different ballgame. And now you're coming down here in Florida, and you are taking on networking, and you're saying yes to a lot of things because I'm seeing you at a lot of networking events, a lot of networking things. So it's fun that you're saying yes to them. And like, how are you feeling about them? Like, how are you navigating through that a little bit?
Yeah, I think that growing up, especially like throughout undergrad and law school, they would have these like forced networking events. Like, here's this happy hour. But I mean, to me, I'm always the person that like signs up whenever I get the letter. And then that day, if I'm not in the mood to do it, it's just basically like, you know, you can not do it and be comfortable, or just like go for a little bit. You don't have to do the whole shebang. You don't have to talk to everyone in the room, but just like, if you don't go, nothing's going to happen in your life. If you do go, you could meet someone to put you in touch and, you know, exponentially, you know, further on your cause. But I was just always like, just be a yes man when it comes to networking. Especially if you find like the right people, like yourself and Lloyd and the other people I met kind of in your circle, you kind of realize that, okay, this person's never going to steer me the wrong way. They're not going to put me in some networking event where they know I'm not going to be myself, or I'm not going to enjoy the people around me. But I mean, to be honest, since starting the firm, that's something that we kind of priced in time wise. Like, I spend X amount of hours on, you know, business development. I spend X amount of hours on operations. I do the rest legal work, but like, it's really built into my schedule because when I moved down here, I have kind of regained the comparable network that I had up north. Obviously, my network up north is kind of like generational. It's very old, and you know, it's my family's been around for a while up there. But down here, I found that people are, in this state, especially South Florida, a lot more willing to open themselves up to like a young, hungry professional, or not, just a young, hungry individual, and be like, hey, I like your vibe. I like your energy. What do you do? How can we help each other? But up north, it's very much like, if you're not in my circle, which has been probably handed down for generations, like, they don't really care. They have their people, they have their doctors, they have their referring attorneys, and it's really hard to tap into like that network up north. As opposed to down here, I feel like everyone is just willing to, you know, open themselves up for mutual benefit. But up north, it's not really like that, and that's why it's been pretty. I wouldn't say easy. It's been a lot more efficient down here to build a network. It's just like a different brand of people down here, and it ties into like how relaxed the state is, how open people are. Definitely the affluence of this area, because, you know, if you don't have anything to give, you don't want to give anything to get anything. That's kind of what I see up north.
No, I think that's amazing. I actually think that's fascinating because they say Florida.
That's fine.
Instead of Florida, we're going to be calling it Florida. You guys can use that as a meme.
There you
go. But Florida is like a more transient area, and that's interesting that you say that people are taking people under their wings here instead of like in Jersey, where you would think you would see that happen, or Philly or whatever, right? In a more northern area where you would think you would see that happening because it is generational, right?
Yeah.
So you would think that they have like like they would be like, hey, son, like, let me get you,
Yeah,
you know, whatever.
Exactly.
But it is more cliquey, right?
Very
and here
cliquey.
we are like, kumbaya. Like,
That's what it is. And again, the other thing is most of the people I meet and have met in my 2 years here, I'd probably say 40% of them were either in town for business or like came down here for business. So like when you run into somebody, for example, at the Bend in West Palm, like it's a hotel, it's very, very nice. People aren't there just to hang around. They're either in town for a bit or like they're going out to enjoy themselves because they do well for themselves. So like this area is just so up and coming in the national, in my opinion, like business world that everyone is here for a purpose. As opposed to up north, it's like you have your things, you're set up, your kids will be fine. So like you're kind of just chilling. As opposed to down here, I feel like a lot of people came down here for the business. And that's why it's been really easy, especially in Palm Beach County for me, because everyone I met was like, oh yeah, I'm down here for this reason. I'm down here for that reason. What do you do? Because they're kind of in that mode, you know, people are hungry down here in this county, I feel like.
yeah, they're trying to collab a little bit more with each other. And like, it's newer energy. So
Definitely
like,
newer energy.
People are, I guess, like sparked differently. Like
All the things. Yeah. It's honestly been a blessing. But it's been night and day, to be honest. Like I go up north for weeks, months at a time, for various reasons, and you can see it. It's night and day. Like if you're out in Philadelphia, no one really is networking. As opposed to if you're out in Delray or Boca or Fort Lauderdale, most people are like networking. I don't know what it is, but it's probably, I mean, it's all the things we just talked about, but it's honestly, it's been more efficient and successful than I thought it would be. I thought it'd be really hard to build a network because I had really nobody down here when I first came down.
It's fascinating to me because like I am born and raised here. So I have created a network over time and I've been networking for a good 12 years in this area, like since I've started my own business and had like that type of stuff. But obviously I was networking long before then because I went to high school here and college and all that other stuff. So I love hearing when somebody else talks about how like welcoming it is nice to hear that.
It's nice.
And it's fascinating. And I think it's so much courage from somebody else who's like, you really like knew no one when you came down here.
Yeah, I had, before I moved down here, my sister and brother-in-law and their firstborn were in Lake Worth. A month before I got here, they went to Tampa, which where I'm from, that's a different state. If you're driving 3 hours, you can drive from Jersey to DC, Jersey to, Connecticut in 3 hours. You can pass through a couple states. So to me, that's not even like having someone in the state. They had a couple friends who followed them down, that I stayed in touch with. That helped a lot. I'm not going to lie. Like just having people that I knew of here. Some of them have become good friends. Some of them not, but having just someone to say like, hey, what's up at this restaurant? Hey, like, what do people do here? Yada, yada. That was a big help. So a couple of my buddies, who weren't friends of mine before I moved down here, but I had known them, we've kind of gotten closer, and that definitely helped a lot. Just to have somebody like, do you have, random stuff? Do you know a contractor? Do you know someone who does internet? Like random stupid stuff that, you end up hiring somebody random. You can build your network that way. And those couple individuals did help me. So I wasn't completely alone, but in the legal world, especially, I didn't know a damn soul.
Yeah. So it's so interesting. And then like so who'd you connect with first, I guess, or like, how did you get connected with like, because I obviously met you through some mutual friends and mutual connections. And so I say that obviously, like everybody knows. Sorry guys. Obviously.
Yeah.
No, but I met you through, mutual friends and like, so, I mean, did you start, I don't think we even really talked about this. Like, did you start like at a networking group or did we talk about this?
No. So I when I got down to Florida, I was involved in a lot of like professional associations up north. Like, there was like the Justinian Society in Philly, which is like an Italian American Lawyers Guild. There was like a Young Professionals of Philadelphia type thing. There was a lot of bar association things happening in Philly. I was involved in all those things because I was in law school there. They would push it on you. We felt like we had to, and I'm glad I did. But when I came down here, I never really got back in touch with those kind of associations or professional networking groups. So I didn't do that at all. My bread and butter when I came down here was probably the nightlife. I don't go out Monday through Friday. Still don't. Probably never will. Well, now I do it for business. But when I first came down,
like if you're networking, you're going out Monday through Friday.
Yeah,
at least Monday through Thursday, I should say.
When I first came down, I was just like going out and meeting people. But I was on the defense side. I was on the civil defense side. So you're not often going to meet someone in public that needs like help for their Fortune 500 company that they're getting sued all the time. Those connections come, from bigger firms. They already have those connections. So for me, I was just meeting people, and it was primarily the nightlife. And then once I thought about starting the business, I got in touch with a couple of people who have like dealt with law firms before, have set up a couple, and then I got in touch with a couple of doctors, and that's how we met our mutual friend. So it was just like a weird way to go about it. And then obviously, as you know, like if you meet someone and there's like synergy there, it's like it's all bets are off if they're the right person, right? And that's kind of how it happened with me. And then I met you, and then the rest of your group, and we meet every Wednesday. So it's been great. It's just been definitely not traditional. I'm just kind of just like going out. I call it chaos, right? Like if you don't go out and make things happen, like if you don't shake hands, if you don't meet people, if you're not in public, nothing's going to happen. Like you have to go throw yourself into environments like Meisner Square, like Fort Lauderdale, stuff like that. And you don't know what's going to happen, but every time I'm out, I meet someone who puts me in touch with somebody, and it doesn't have to be business. Like you don't have to get a case from somebody, but like eventually you'll be able to help them or vice versa. And I just felt like, I've met people at clubs I don't really like that do bad things that have given me a lot of business. Like, it's just the nature of the beast. Like, it's just gone. It's been chaotic in terms of where the business is coming from. But if you just go out and put yourself out there, nothing bad's going to happen. No one's going to, you might be uncomfortable in certain situations, but like, just put yourself out there and things will happen. Pray about it. Work hard and treat people with respect. What I say, like you just work hard, treat people how they're supposed to be treated, respect yourself. Good things will come. It might be like down the road, and it might be not how you expected it, but just like keep on pushing forward, and it'll be fine. In my opinion.
That's so good. It's so good. It's so true. It's just like, yeah. Oh, that was so good. I was like, yes.
Sorry, I tend to ramble.
Isn't that the whole point of a podcast? Yeah, no, that's what it is. People feel energy, and people feel that you are so genuine and true to who you are and down to earth. And that was one thing when I met you right away too. I was like, oh, he's like legit. Like he's not trying to like act like he's somebody else.
Swindle you.
Yeah. You might dress like it. No, I'm just kidding.
No, that's another topic. No, for sure.
Ooh, let's get into that then.
People can just tell I'm not from here.
Yeah.
And in this area code, it's a little less daunting because, so I'm really weird. I will run like calculations like in the back of my head. I would say about 70% of the people I met down here are from New York or New Jersey. Mm-hmm. So like, for example, Delray, I fit right in because that's all tri-staters, New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania. But like when I walk into court, like I was in small claims court in Hillsborough County, and I walked in and I was like, I am out of place. And you can tell, right? But you get past that, and I feel like it's less daunting now because there are so many northern transplants down here. But yeah, I always ask people that I'm with, like if I go to a place I'm not usually at, I'm like, yo, you guys can tell I'm not from here. They're just like 100%.
You literally look like Jersey. If I watched Jersey Shore, which I did at one point, like the very first, like maybe 2 or 3 seasons, I would say like, you kind of could come out of Jersey Shore. Like, I hate to say it, but I hear it
a lot. But here's the thing. Only one person on that show was from New Jersey. They were all from New York.
Really?
Yeah. But
wait, who's the Jersey one?
Her name is Dina. She actually went to my high school. But I didn't know her. She was older than me. But yeah, everyone always says that. And I'm like, you're right. But they were all from Long Island. But after that show, New Jerseyans became that. So it's the same stuff now. So you're right. I just have to have some defense.
I mean to like totally pick on you, but it is funny, and it's fun for me. Like I welcome people that appreciate Florida or that want to network and that want to like truly like help the community here. And I think that's who you are. And I'm like, great. I don't care if you're from New Jersey or whatever, but it is fun to like kind of tease you a little bit.
Oh, you have to. And it's because, I mean, I always feel bad, right? Because if this was my hometown and I saw the changes that you saw in the last couple of years, like I could see how it would make me angry. I mean, it's good for business. It's good for landlords. But like, I mean, the amount of building I've seen in the last 2 years, like it is changing your state. So I feel like at least you guys can give Northerners guff for coming down here, causing more traffic, jacking up the land prices. So no, I'm
not complaining.
I'm all with it.
I don't mind like my house going up in price. Like I'm not gonna lie. Like I'm okay with that.
Yeah, it's the least we can do is take some friendly banter about that. Cause I mean, I think it was the largest migration in the history of this country from 2020 to 2022 was from New Jersey to Florida.
Not New York?
Well, that area into Florida.
Okay,
I think
New Jersey,
maybe it was
New York,
just
Philly.
people coming to Florida in those 2 years. Which makes sense, right? Because it was that time up north was absolutely terrible. Like if I didn't have...
I would do the same thing.
Yeah, if I didn't have... My mom lives pretty much... I call it... It's like on the edge of the hood and the sticks. Like it's just like super, super land in one part of my town. It's like super, super just like, you know... typical urban areas in my town, but I had like woods to go to. I'm very outdoorsy. I hunt and all that stuff. So if I didn't have that to do during that time, I don't know. I mean, I would have gone crazy, but we just kind of like had fires, did some hunting, some other things.
So you're not from like Jersey Shore. You're like...
We're like 20 minutes from the beach.
That's pretty close.
So yeah, but it's nice. It's like, there's woods, there's like land where I'm from. People think in New Jersey, they think it's like cities everywhere. That's what you see. But I had like where I'm from in Central Jersey, it's very open. It's very like, you know, there's nature everywhere. So that's what got me through it. But other than that, up north in those past couple of years, it was terrible. Terrible.
Sounds lovely. On that note, we're going to take a quick commercial break and we'll be right back.
Thank you.
Injured in a car accident, on the job, or just playing a game of pickleball? MedAmerica is the #1 clinic in physical therapy, occupational therapy, and chiropractic needs, specializing in sports, post-surgical, and orthopedic conditions. Located in Deerfield Beach, MedAmerica is here to help you get back feeling better than you did before. Visit their website at medamericarehab.com. That's med, M-E-D, America, AMERICA, rehab, REHAB.com. Mention the connector to receive 10% off any self-pay service. Today's podcast is sponsored by Pod Populi. Have you ever thought of starting a podcast? Not sure where to start? Pod Populi makes it easy. With over 20 podcast studio locations nationwide, they host over 100 podcasts. Pod Populi is a full-service podcasting studio with video and audio production. They help you put your idea into the best podcast. Visit podpopuli.com to book your time to talk to an expert on getting started. That's pod, PODPOPULI.com, and mention the connector for 10% off your first year. Okay, guys, we're back. Let's talk about, I want to talk about the dating scene because I know like,
I got a lot to say.
Because it's funny, the person who introduced us, he was like, oh, you can talk about the dating scene in South Florida. And I was like, that's not really what the podcast is about, but that's okay because I did have a relationship podcast for a long time. So let's get into it because I love talking about relationships and dating and all that other fun stuff too, because it's all about connections.
Yeah.
It's connecting in a different way, but it's connections, needless to say. And so let's talk about it. I mean, welcome to South Florida dating.
And let me say, as a perfect bridge, that I've gotten a lot of legal work from
Tinder?
From the dating
and
scene.
Hinge. And oh my gosh, tell me, am I doing business wrong this whole time?
So, I mean, no one needs legal. Like when you're in the legal field, especially a plaintiff's firm like mine, you don't market to people like, "Hey, you're hurt. Call us." you do, but you're not looking for the people, only the people who are hurt right now. You're just kind of letting them know that if they're ever hurt, they call you. So any connection you make on my end is a good connection because they're, if they ever need help or their family ever needs help, they'll call you. So when I was down here in the dating scene, I didn't know it at the time, but like a lot of those women reached out to me even after it was all good and say, hey, I had this problem, handle this case, yada, yada, yada. That is completely ethical under the rules. There's a rule about it. You can read about it. I'm not going to go into it, but
that you can solicit on Hinge and Tinder.
No, you can.
Kidding.
You cannot have sexual relations with a client if you didn't have those sexual relations before they were a client.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So it was all good, but
yeah, of course.
I've also learned that line of business is kind of touchy. You really have to know the person that is giving you the business, especially if it's their problem, because some people I think have used that as like a way to kind of just get back in touch. And wait,
hold on. Oh my gosh, this is a thing?
No, it's not so black and white, but I had a couple of experiences where I was like, okay, this person doesn't really care that much about this legal issue. They care more about like the social kind of, whatever lasting, whatever they had. And it's just also like, it can get messy. So I've kind of not steered away from that, but I've kind of gotten away from being so willing to help people directly who I used to kind of see that way. I'd prefer to refer them out now.
You're like, I know this great attorney.
Give him a call.
Let me tell you.
But, yeah, if you want to talk about dating, give me something to talk about. I can talk about anything all day when it comes to that. I've had quite the ride down here. And I'll just say off the bat.
Sure. I'm here. I'm listening.
And again, I run numbers in the back of my head all the time. So wait,
are you constantly doing statistics?
Basically.
Oh my gosh. I love statistics.
Yeah,
but
basically. So I've figured out that
you don't even have to make them up because you're actually doing
Yeah,
statistics.
no, because I hate when people are talking BS, right? And you're like, what are you talking about? What is your basis for that? I always talk in those terms and have something to back it up. So since I've been down here, and all these are not a dig at South Florida, because all the women that I have met since I've been down here, I would say I've only met a handful of born and raised South Floridians. So these are just Northerners who came down here, them or their parents, or came to school here. But most of the women that I've found that come to Florida, men too, but I only can speak on women. Most of them are running from something. Internally, externally, an ex, a bad family situation. So people come here in our generation, in our age group, to feel like they're getting away from something because they're thinking Florida, no worries, boats, yachts, money. This is going to be great, sun. All that's true, but I've realized that, okay, that's all well and good, but if you never fix the problem that brought you down here, you're still going to have the problem. So, I really quickly realized, I was like, this is a lot different than up north. And actually 3 times older couples happily married since I've been down here. I would just meet them out. We'd be talking yada, yada, yada. I'm not going there. That's the South Florida.
I was like, oh my gosh.
3 times
Jordan.
these older couples, they were like, listen, you're amazing. We're glad you're down here. But 3 times I heard this, they said, you're going to have to go up north to find your wife. And I'm like, when I first moved down here, I was like, what are you talking about? But I now realize what they were saying. It's just a different moral compass that people navigate up north in our generation than down here. And they're not perfect up north. They have the same problems we have, but I feel like this area, and I hate calling it a cesspool, but it is for our generation, young people who have to worry about all this stuff that our parents didn't have to worry about, the social media, people doing things to their bodies and making them look fake, yada, yada, yada. Our generation down here, it's just the dating scene is tough. And I don't tolerate nonsense. I'm a real old fashioned guy. If I take you out, I'd prefer to pick you up if you're comfortable. If not, that's fine. But like, I'm opening doors, I'm paying. I'm just a traditional guy. I was raised by a single mom, 2 sisters. So like, that's just where I'm from. And down here, it was like, happened to me once. I don't know that happened to me once, but like, made plans with somebody in Miami. Gorgeous, gorgeous girl. And like last minute she canceled. And I was like, that's never happened to me before. And I called my buddy who's been down here and I was like, told him a story and he was like, dude, you kidding me? Like, she probably got a call from someone who had a yacht, like, and bounced. I'm like, that's how it is. He's like, dude, yeah, that's how it is. So I was like, okay, these are different rules than I was used to kind of like playing by, which is fine. Right. I don't necessarily blame the girl. I mean, if I was in her shoes, like, I don't know. But it was just, it was a learning experience, but it was good for me. I was fresh out of a 4-year relationship when I came down here. Everything was all good, but it was definitely nice to learn about life outside of what I was used to. Cause learn about yourself. You deal with things that aren't like ideal. That's another thing. Like I never really been through hardship in relationships. I was just always like dating the girl who I thought was, I'm being shallow, but like the hottest and like,
your guy. It's okay. I give you permission.
And like, it always, it always was good for when it was good. And then if it didn't work out, obviously, which it didn't, but coming down here was kind of like a crash course in like reality of dating. Miami, Fort Lauderdale, Boca, Delray, West Palm, like you can get all your lessons learned just from those cities. And I did. But it's been...
I know you're getting comfortable. You're like, oh, I'm really good at talking about this. I can talk about this all day, ladies.
No, but like it's been an experience. But I hate to be so pessimistic about it, but that's just what I've seen time and time and time again. And there's been great girls that I met down here that, just didn't work out for one way or another. Most of the time, it was me just,
So do you have like an age range? Do you are you 10 years older, 10 years younger, 5 years older? What is your age range?
So I had a hard and fast rule all my life. My younger sister was 4 years younger than me. And my older sister was 6 years older than me. I didn't really care about, the age range above my age, but like I would never look twice at a girl younger than my sister. Cause at the time I was 18, she was 14, I was 22, she was 18. So like, but then I'm 28 and I'm like, wait, my sister's 24. I'm like, does this rule apply anymore? And
I could date a 22-year-old?
Yeah. So like, and in South Florida, again, I realized really, really quickly that people don't really care about age down here. Like up north, we don't play that. That's not a thing, at least where I'm from. But like, I would see 45-year-old men walking around with 25-year-old women. And I'm like, okay, that's fine, right? If everyone's cool with it, that's fine. But up north, that's just not a thing. And then I obviously learned that the whole sugar daddy thing wasn't a myth, that it actually happens. I was shocked.
Sugar daddies are everywhere. Like
I didn't know that though. I didn't know that.
Okay, so you were just living under a rock at that point.
Yeah, I just thought that was like a myth. But no, the age all my life was not younger than my younger sister. Okay. When I got down here, especially with the area I was in, I was like, oh, okay, like maybe I can connect with this 23-year-old girl fresh out of college. It's not the case for me, at least. You're just at different points in your life. And, for me, probably, I think you're the same way. I need someone who's emotionally intelligent. I don't need the smartest person in the world, but like just know yourself and know kind of what the purpose is behind your actions. And that just wasn't true with the 23-year-old girls in Delray.
Well, I think at 23, you're still finding yourself. You're still you're like, I did not know who I was at 23. I don't
think I did either.
Right?
Yeah.
Like,
I don't think I did either.
Your 20s are for like finding yourself and like figuring out really who you are more so. And then your 30s are for like enjoying that part of yourself. Like you're like, hey, now I feel like really comfortable in my own skin. I'm good.
Now you can enjoy it. Exactly.
Yeah. And then just sit and enjoying that and sit enjoyment of that or whatever.
No, but the younger girls, I learned that it wasn't worth my time and energy. That's my thing. Like, you want to waste my money on dinner, you want to waste XYZ, but like, just don't waste my time. Mm-hmm. That's my one rule. And then the opposite side of that, when I came down,
so pretty much like, I'll buy you a nice dinner, but just if it's only 10 minutes.
No, like, I mean, I've left girls on dates in Florida.
Ooh,
Yeah.
okay. So let's talk about that for a second.
So
you walked out. I've never walked out on a date. Like, I think that's rude.
well, I do it like differently. Like, for example, I met a girl at the gym, which another rule. My rule all my life was you don't approach women at the gym. Because I have sisters, so I'm like, I don't want creeps walking up to my sister at the gym. So like,
don't I think like the girls are literally going to the gym to get approached?
Well, that's like, what I learned. That's what I learned. I'm like, all right, I gotta get outside my. I'm a real like rigid rule guy, and I was like, okay, so whatever.
That's literally why we go to the gym. We're not going to the gym because of our health. Like, we're going to the gym because, I mean, I would say maybe like 95% of the girls are doing that. I mean, yes, and if they're going to the gym, they're going like for their health. They're going at the times that the guys are not there. Yeah. Like, they're not going at like prime guy hot time. Yeah. Like, I don't know how else to describe.
I didn't know that. And honestly, I'm pissed. I'm not pissed I broke my rule, but it didn't go well. So I met this girl at the gym. I was like, hey, listen, like, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Like, we'll go out sometime. Like 2 days later, she's with it. I'm like, this is cool. You know, she's from New Jersey. We're out. She's like, hey, my friend's around the corner. I said, tell her to come. It was after dinner. I was like, of course, bring your friend. The friend gets there. Friend's cool as hell from Jersey. The girl I was with at the time, taken out, she went to the bathroom. And the friend turns to me. She said, like, oh, did so-and-so tell you? I'm like, tell me what? I just met this girl. Like, here we go. And she's like, oh, like, we're packing up her apartment tomorrow. She's moving back to Jersey. Her and her ex are like super toxic. And I'm like, this girl just told me she just moved down here. So like, I'm like, okay, well, this ain't happening. So paid the bill, called an Uber. And when she came back to the table, I was like, listen, like, I don't know who you think I am, who you deal with, but like, I'm good off. And like, your Uber's ready, bill's paid. Like, you're all right. Just, I'm out of here. And that happened twice. So like, for me, it's like, listen, if someone was to tell me like, hey, I'm in town I thought I was gonna live down here. I'm actually not, but like, we can go have fun. I'm like, you know, that's understandable. I'd be like, yeah, let's do it. But yeah, I don't do the wasting of the time, especially when it comes to like.
So interesting. So I've been watching like Love on the Spectrum lately, which
I watched it last night.
You did? Okay. So it's amazing.
It is
actually
amazing.
Like at first I was just like, okay, I'm not sure like how I'm going to feel about this in the sense of like relatability in a way, I guess, or whatever. And I'm like, this is new. I don't know, like, you know, whatever. Right. And I watched it and I was like, oh my gosh, I was so touched. I was the same way. Right. Like, and I was like, I learned so much. And I was like, gosh, like if everybody could just say how they feel, wouldn't we be in such a better place? And in a sense, like in a loving way, like it's a beautiful thing. And it like totally, I'm like so grateful that the show is on.
It's a net positive for sure.
100. It's incredible. And I suggest it to anybody who listens or watches to watch the show because it is it just so beautiful how people just say like what they're feeling. Yeah. And I was like, gosh, we all need to do this more and live in this beautiful, like the world is a beautiful place and we get caught up with all of our egos and all of this other stuff that happens. And if we can just sit in that beauty, oh my gosh, the possibility, right?
It is incredible. And like, that's another thing that I had to learn. And I will say my best friend, I don't know how he knows all this stuff, but like, he's who I always turn to when it comes to like, yo, what's going on with this situation I have with this girl, yada, yada. I didn't know there was like rules when I came down here. And I know they always existed, but I was, like I said, I was in a relationship for a long time before. But like my buddy was like, oh, dude, you're texting her back too fast. And I was like, excuse me, bro? I was like, if I see a text and I have time to answer it, I'm going to answer it. He was like, yeah, no, but like, if you answer her text too fast and she's taking hours to answer your text, it looks a certain way. I'm like, this is so ridiculous that I'm sitting here. I'm like, this is ridiculous. Yeah. And you're right. I mean, if people were just genuine, and I watched that show for the first time last night, it wasn't my idea, but I was down and I'm glad I did. I don't do the best with
emotional show.
Yeah, like
it's emotional. It's
yeah.
I also kind of like defer from it because I'm just like I see emotion all day, every day.
Yeah,
and it's sometimes like I need like something just totally not emotional in a way, or where I'm going to get emotionally attached to something, or yeah, I was just like, I don't know if I want to cry, laugh, or whatever. Like, I don't know if I want those emotions. Though. It is. And so like, I was like nervous to watch it because I was just like, I know it's going to be bringing up a lot of emotion for me. Mm-hmm. And, yeah, like I said, like it's the most amazing. Yeah. And you agree too. You're like, yeah, like it's an amazing show.
And to be honest, I have to confess, like it wasn't my idea. I am seeing a girl. I am seeing a girl.
Go tell the audience, because otherwise you're going to be like hitting your, sliding into your DMs or whatever.
So I say that like, while a good woman nowadays is probably one in about 100,000, there are good women out there. And I think same thing with men. It's probably hard to find a good man. But yeah, so I'm getting outside my comfort zone a bit. This other show she asked me to watch, Love is Blind. I don't like that show. That's ridiculous. I watch it, but Love on a Spectrum was I think everyone should watch that show. I think you're right.
It teaches so much beauty and love, and it's and talk about connection too, right? Like it's amazing. So anyways, okay. Since we got totally sidetracked today and we talked about a million other things, I know people are going to want to get connected with you and find out where they can reach out to you because of your beautiful big heart and who you are. So where can everybody get connected with you?
So the easiest is probably going to be Instagram, either my personal or business. I'll give them to you. No one uses email, but if you want to shoot me an email, that's fine. I don't use Facebook anymore. The business does, but literally anyway, just, if you just Google my name, or, I'll put the social media in the bio, in the description. But anyway, and I'm not one of those people who kind of like hides their personal number. Like if you reach out to me, you need help, I'm going to be very quick to give you my personal number. With the firm growing as fast as it is, people tell me I have to tailor that back, but that's kind of not my style. If you need me, I want you to be able to text or call me. So yeah, just reach out if you need anything. Through you and your network, I've grown a lot. So basically, just as our mutual friend says, like, if you call me with anything, if I can't help, like, I can just reach out to people who can help. But yeah, social media is easy. If you have my number, obviously, but, just, if you don't have any of those, just Google my name and it won't be hard, and don't scroll down too far.
You might find those best girls. Oh my gosh, this is so fantastic. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ariel. I appreciate it.
This is easy. You were fun. And I really appreciate you coming
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Okay, guys, if you enjoyed this episode, not even if you enjoyed it, since you enjoyed this episode, if you can subscribe, write a review, it really does help the podcast and it helps us. And if you can post about the podcast, this episode, or whatever it is, share this episode with a friend. It, again, just gets the word out there. And I really appreciate all the love and support you guys share every week with me. It really, really means a lot. So thank you. And I look forward to seeing you all next week for a whole new episode.